Hello, hi. For the first episode, I have Gaurav and I have Prashant, and we made a couple of short films together. So today's topic is Maachis. So Maachis is a memorable movie. It is about the impact of 86 insurgency on Punjab, Kashmir, and basically on the entire country, how it affected the 90s era. So in 96, Gulzar Saab came with this movie with the lead cast of Tabu and Chandrachur Singh, who was a rising star at that time. So, floor is open. So, Gaurav, you have to start.
Yeah,
Early.
yeah, definitely. So Machis, yeah, it has been one of the remarkable movies as far I remember like watching it for the first time when I was a kid, and as a kid, usually we don't understand that much about such serious topics, but yet I remember having moments wherein I was watching that movie dumbfoundedly, like, whoa, what is that? Like some scenes struck me at even at that time. So like that is one of the great things of that movie. Yet, and also one of the one prime thing that I remember from that first watch that I had of this movie was that even though it was about such a serious topic about terrorists, about insurgency and all that thing, being Gulzar Saab's creation, it had that musical touch to it everywhere.
Full touch.
And not just about the songs that I'm talking about. It's also about that whole aura of that movie had that musical note, I would say, which you can't explain, but you can feel that vibe.
Yeah,
So that is one.
I mean, the scenes between Tabu and Chandrachur Singh, they were very
Mhm,
light-hearted. Even in in the
mhm,
climax part when they're like, they
mhm.
know that they are going to die. So
They are
yeah,
going to
this
die.
episode will have some spoilers. So even those were very lyrical. I mean, they were approaching
Mm,
death with a sense of romance, which is
with the sense of them.
melancholic, and I don't know. It is very difficult to put into words. Prashant,
It is like
Right.
it kinds of yeah,
yeah,
sorry, go on.
yeah, go ahead.
No, so I was just saying to add to that point only. So yeah, like it kind of that lyrical thing that you said, it kind of prepares you, and it makes us believe, it makes us realize that okay, this is bound to happen. You have to accept it, and you have to feel that pain, that agony, and the love that they are going through. So that is
Right.
what the
So,
best part about it.
so the,
Yeah.
the first memory about this movie that I have is of the song Chappa Chappa. That's where I first heard that, okay, this is where the song belongs. So that's a very, iconic song. Everybody has heard it. It's if you have to sing a song in Antakshari with Cha, that's Chappa Chappa. That's like fixed. So that was the first memory for me of that movie. I didn't know any of the names like Gulzar or Vishal Bharadwaj at that time when I listened to that song. But when I watched that movie, I completely agree with the point that Gaurav made about the musical flow. There is music kind of flows through the movie. It just, keeps on going through the movie. You never feel like it's like, somebody is presenting a stage show where uh, they are acting and doing something, and there is a symphony playing in the background, and the show just keeps flowing.
Mm.
uh, so that's what kind of stands out in that movie, and it does touch a very serious issue of the 80s and 90s, which I think some of that issue still exists, even though we may not see it on that regular basis. So yeah, completely, it's a complete musical movie. And what else would you expect now that I know the works of Gulzarji and Vishal Bharadwaj? I would not have expected anything less in that.
Yeah. So, what do you think, Prashant, about Vishal Bharadwaj I mean, as a filmmaker who has a very in-depth knowledge of music because of his background?
Well, right. There was one more movie which was coming to my mind when I was watching it. It had Shahid Kapoor and Tabu in it.
Heather.
It was what was his name?
Heather.
Based on Kashmir. Shahid Kapoor and Tabu. Vishal Bharadwaj movie recent.
Yeah, we are talking about Heather.
What was it?
It's not Hamlet.
It's not Heather. Right. So that movie, if you look at that movie, it had to me, it felt like it had a
Okay, I think we lost him for a moment.
I mean, the acting was more extreme. I found Shahid's acting to be, a bit more extreme when compared with the actors. Acting in this one was kind of light, the kind of acting you expected in old movies. Uh, so yeah, that was a difference. But I felt same kind of feeling growing inside that okay, there is a tense symphony going on. There is something tense going to happen. So that same feeling I got while I was watching this. So Vishal Bharadwaj has, kind of a mindset that I feel that he goes towards topics which not everybody may accept, which not everybody knows, but he just wants to present it with his own flow of music. It's like let it flow, and that's what I want to present. If you like it or you don't like it, I don't want to hear your opinion. I like it, and that's what I want to present.
Gaurav,
Right.
so yeah, you were saying something.
No. Yeah, I was saying some. Yeah, that's I agree to that, and that's like same thing. Like as you said, like how it makes it like how you see Vishal Bharadwaj like having a good knowledge of music as well as this. So it makes a lot of difference, I believe, because music, especially in Bollywood, like not in Bollywood, not only in Bollywood. Anywhere in any cinema, it makes a huge difference because as it say that like as they say sometimes that life would have been different had we had a background music going on in the real life as well. So why do they say that? Because music actually makes a difference when to the scene, just by just a small tune makes it
Yeah.
changes the perception of the scene sometimes.
True.
So that's what the essence of music is. So it's to some people it's just like okay, Bollywood has music, but it's not just songs. It's not just the with all due respect, not just Govinda songs that music is about. So it's a lot different. And Govinda songs also have some sense to those kind of music. It also has a kind of section. So that's why all due respect to that. So music has that ability to transform a movie from just a movie to a movie. So that's what it does. So that's why having that sense along with that thing is does make a difference. And Vishal Bhardwaj has obviously like he has
Yeah,
proven that that outcome that he has given every time with his
right.
things, be it Omkara, be it this thing, be it
Yeah,
as he said Heather. It has been tremendous.
right.
Oh, one of the strength which I believe of this particular movie is the star cast.
Hmm.
Forget about. I mean, most of them were unknown. Okay, Tabu was there due to the commercial scene, but she was still, I mean, not recognized as the actress she is known today. So
Hmm.
there had, I mean, Kamaljeet was there, SM Kareem Sahab was there. Then there were other actors who we knew because Raj Zutsi was there. So because of those 90s TV show, 80s and 90s TV show like Bunyad, Hum Log, and so many of them. So those are familiar faces. And then they brought a actor who was also becoming a rising star at that time, Chandrachur Singh, uh, along with Tabu. And then a new actor who was supposed to be an assistant director on that movie, Jimmy Sheirgill. Okay. So, I mean, it sort the movies without any big star cast, without any big actor, it still worked. And I mean, it was, I mean, probably made like 3 times of its budget. Okay, which was huge for something offbeat like this. Okay,
Yeah,
and probably some credit goes to the two songs छोड़ा है हम ये गलियां and चप्पा चप्पा चल. So
Right.
um, from acting point of view, Gaurav, what do you think worked most for this movie?
Uh, what worked most, I would say, is actually that's what I said. Like what, like how we discussed in the beginning. This whole movie had a calmness include, like, even though it was about terrorism, it was about insurgency, it had a sense of calmness and stability in the characters.
Hmm.
And that's what I guess worked for the characters, because Chandrachur Singh and Jimmy Sheirgill and Tabu also at the calmness that was needed was there in their characters that they portrayed.
Hmm.
That like, even though they had that what would I say, that the feeling of revenge inside them, but still that some sort of calmness was there, which actually justified the whole movie, as well as songs like Chappa Chappa Charka Chale and the other one. So that's what I think was the core essence, which hit the audience somewhere. That because what actually happened, I believe, was like, now thinking of that, that that calmness actually was connecting them somewhere to the common man that they are, or that they were. But situations made them take that revenge that they took. So still that connection of calmness always, like, even though they were being in a negative, they were the terrorists. So eventually, so they were on the wrong side of the law, but still that string of calmness connected them to the common man they were, and that's what made the audience vote for them instead of like the government
Totally,
somehow.
totally agree to that point. And one thing is about how they threaded all the beats. You see, it was
Mhm.
not like story started from here and it ended here. No.
Right.
So they showed
Mhm.
one scene,
Yeah.
and then they would take you in the memories where they were like super good, everything was good. So humans tend to, you know, give some concession. Well, they were so nice. So
Yeah.
this bad part is okay. It's justified. Then they go back to that violence and anger, and then again the calmness. So it's how they threaded every scene together. That's how the amazing filmmaking is that they did. So with that's what hit everybody, kept a balance. It was not like going into extreme and then ending it, but it was like going back and forth, and keeping everybody engaged in it emotionally.
Yeah, you guys are making a very good point on that because I think a lot of movies about these kind of topics they try to show anger through loud voice. They
Loud,
actors project their
yeah.
voice so much,
Mm,
and
mm,
there is something very scary about mm, voiceless anger. I mean, it was a very vague scene, but the last scene of Dilse was very scary when they just explode, but without saying each other anything.
mm,
I mean, it becomes very scary as a viewer because you really can. I mean, when someone is angry, you know what is coming. Okay, but when someone is silent, you really don't know. And there is a
Right.
parallel
yeah.
between the climax of Dilse and this movie. So yeah, I mean, I think it was beautifully done. Performance wise, I think Raj Zutsi didn't get much credit for the job he did. The
He
scene
is
where
actually
he came
underrated.
back, yeah, the scene where he came back after the police tortured him, that was scary. That
Yeah.
was scary. Yeah, those
From
kind of
acting point of view, I think Tabu also did a good job, and she's a fabulous actor today. When I was watching, I actually rewatched it today after talking to you guys, and me and my wife, we both were watching, and we were discussing that she still looks the same.
yeah,
I mean, the way she looked like 26 years ago, she is still the same. Very graceful acting. Om Puri had a lot of passion when he was, motivating Chandrachur Singh. So that his acting, you know, as good as he is, his acting was on point. He was really nice. And one more point about the music I forgot to mention. You asked the impact of music for the and Gaurav, you were saying that there is a class of music for Govinda's songs as well, and there is a different class for other songs as well. So it's about striking a balance. Your songs don't have to be too much vulgar, too much loud. They don't have to be too slow
Hmm.
or lack of music. I actually did find that two of the songs that Lata Mangeshkar did in this one, if they had music of say Dil Se, kind of that music, they would have had a different impact where she was singing, and it had a very low music, but if had some depth in it, it would have been much better, in my opinion. But what do I know? But the other songs which were there, I mean, Chappa Chappa would have been if you remake it today, and probably somebody would do that job,
You're right.
Tanishq Bagchi or somebody. And they will brutally murder it, but there was a soothing balance in it, that it was an enthusiastic song and there was no rapping in it, no loud music, just calm music. You can just feel that roughly when they were playing it. You can hear that beat when they're playing it. So that's the very nice balance of music that they play, and it's about that balance. You go loud, you go low, it doesn't hit. So that's where Vishal Bharadwaj and Gulzar, that's combination did really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just amazed by the range Gulzar Saab shows over his poems.
Yeah, yeah,
The Urdu user, and I mean, the same person wrote "Choda Hai Hum Ye Wo Galiyan" and the same person wrote "Chaddi Pehan Ke Phool Khila Hai." So I mean, that's of course it remains decent because it's from a
right.
time where decency was a virtue rather than a flaw. So, but वो एक जो ठहराव है, that poetic silence is there, right? So that is very very rare quality. I don't think I have heard anyone write like that. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just
Agreed. Agreed.
yep.
so. Let's talk about the controversial part of the movie, the insurgency. So recently there was a show in which we had Pawan Malhotra playing a main role, Grahan. Okay, so
Mhm.
it's on Hotstar. So if you want to watch, you can have a look at. So it was a sort of cop out. It could have been a way better show, but they did a fairly good job given the kind of examples they had. So Maachis still is one of very few movies who have done some kind of justice to the situation in Punjab and Kashmir in 80s. How by proxy wars and other elements, the insurgency grew in Punjab and that started affecting the whole country. Um, of course, it had some highs and lows. It's of its own. Um, in Sangharsh, there was a one particular scene where Preeti Zinta is remembering about her childhood, and she's a Sikhni in that movie, and she remembers about her trauma during the insurgency phase. But that was a very small part. Apart from that, whenever we see in movies, it is, I mean, it is either coolish or it is just uh, half-hearted effort. Any thoughts on that? How on the portrayal of those difficult topics?
Right. So
Uh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, Prashant, go on, please.
Sure.
I know a few people who were impacted, and they have told me stories. So it's all about opinion. Some people may find that it was too much, and some people may find that it was less. For me, I found that it didn't show enough of it. It was when you look at Kulbhushan Kharbanda and when Puri they were talking, you feel like there is some anger going on, but on ground reality there was nothing much actually happening against which they were revolting. That was not shown much there. apart from one scene where they beat him up.
Uh,
So I I think they didn't show enough of it. Situation was much worse. Um, in my what from what I have heard, I have not been part of it, but I know people who have told me stories. So it's all about stories, what they heard, what versus what I heard. So I think they showed a little less of that.
okay, yeah, I agree to that point. But what I was focusing on was the sensibility. How, I mean, it was still a better. What, of course, they copped out. They couldn't have shown everything because even what is happening in Kashmir, you cannot show. It will not ever make to the theater. The thing is that there is a way of showing certain things,
Right.
and I think Gulzar Saab handled it very with a sensitivity that is actually missing in Indian cinema in general.
Right, but if you notice that scene where he comes back from after police beats him up and they take him home. Then
Hmm,
there is a guy, I don't know his name, but I have seen him in several Punjabi movies later on. The guy who gives a short speech there about insurgency, like what Indians are doing for them. So that speech came out of nowhere. You see the previous scene that was shown, it was like it looked like a simple misunderstanding of police, like they usually do. It didn't look like they were picking up a sick guy. They could have done it with any guy. Police does. I mean, that's like a normal trend in police. Like they will pick up somebody to put blame. So till that point, there was no mention of like it is happening like Indian government versus the people of Punjab. But then that guy suddenly starts his speech. It
hmm,
was like he wanted to introduce, like the Gulzar Sahab wanted to introduce that there is an issue going on.
hmm.
So that should, in my opinion, I think it should have been like a subtle introduction earlier and then connected with the anger of some people surrounding it.
And it should have gone a little deeper, more,
Yes.
more
Yeah.
incisive. Okay.
Yeah.
Gaurav, your thoughts?
Mhm. Yeah, I agree to that. Like because I understand like there are at times there are limitations in the movie
Hmm,
due to duration. Sometimes they don't want to extend that too much, and they like go more of symbolic and more of like okay, it is understood. This point is understood. Like as you said that they just showed capturing him, like catching hold of him, and then the speech was connecting the dot. So I think. To some extent, like it's a balance kind of a thing, I believe, because sometimes the director needs to take that creative decision how they want to show it. So it's just like it's more of because as long as it is conveyed, it is done. And maybe now thinking of it, maybe it was a conscious decision to maintain that calmness that it had. Like they didn't want to
hmm.
show too much of violence or too much of that thing. So maybe that was the reason. But yeah, I agreed. Like I'm not. I'm neutral on this thing. I
So
would say.
one more thing on this one, when Tabu spots a police car standing parked behind their house.
Hmm,
At that point, I felt like she would give some hint, like she was scared seeing a cop car. So there was no clear thing shown, like why are they standing here? She didn't say anything. If a hint was dropped at that time that the Sikh community was scared of Punjab police or the police in general, uh, I felt like there was a flow kind of dropped in between, and it would have flown better in that sense.
hmm.
So, but who am I to tell? You know,
Yeah, of course, we all have like experiences told by somebody else, or we read it
yeah,
online rather than having gone through the same
Mhm.
thing.
right,
Um, of course, it is not based on our personal experience. It is what we have heard from other
right,
our friends, our
exactly.
colleagues. Yeah, I understand. So I will say one more thing. I think in Heather, Vishal Bharadwaj went a little in. He was very incisive on that. So I think in that context, I think Heather is a better movie. Okay, just in that context, I am not comparing two different movies. I'm just saying in that movie he probably did a better job in talking about something that is usually considered a little taboo in Indian cinema. Okay, let's talk about.
It
We are circling back. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but I would like to add one more point to this. So, because actually, I think that was also like, since as you said that it came up when he made Heather. So actually, one more reason of doing that could have been that because in like in 90s, like the more realism that came into movies, right? That into acting, into filmmaking, into into the scene depictions, more realism has started coming in this century, like in 2000
Yeah,
onwards.
of course.
So
Yes.
maybe that could have been the reason of yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, it takes some balls to do that as well.
No,
Right.
definitely.
So, right. So that's what
Right.
that's a good thing about Vishal Bhardwaj, right? He's like, I I'll do what I want to do, and that's the good way to do it.
Mm.
If you are doing it to please an audience, you take Salman Khan and make a movie. But if you want to, present something that you really believe in, then you go ahead and do it. You don't have to please the audience. Audience will be pleased who believe in it, or you look at it from the filmmaker's eye, what he's trying to present. Don't judge it by your own opinions.
Mm-hmm.
So what he tried to show in Heather, I didn't like it. Like, if I give my opinion, I didn't like it. But what he showed was absolutely 100%. What he wanted to show, he showed it, and that was like the a beautiful movie. What was the content of it? Do I agree with the content? Maybe, maybe not.
That is
But the
subjective.
movie,
That is subjective. Yes.
movie is it was perfect.
Okay. So we are circling back on the one more same topic we talked about a little earlier. So we talked about the music of Maachis. Okay. So for a movie, mostly, I mean, if you see Indian cinema, most of the movies have music sprinkled across the movie. You know, there will be a song once in a while. Okay. So in Matches, the movie helps you take the narrative forward. Okay. The songs basically they tell not only the personal stories of those people, they also help the narrative move forward. Okay. So what is your take on how music of Matches worked in favor of the movie? Um, Gaurav?
Yeah, definitely. Like as you said, like maybe coming to think of that, maybe the thing wherein the songs take the narrative forward started from there.
Right.
But yeah, definitely it excuse me. So definitely it helped the movie in commercial sense also because the songs were a hit. They are even played today on the radios. So yeah, definitely the songs helped the movie, and it was as you said that lyrical note coming back to that as well. So that also was being hit by those songs, by those things. So it was definitely, as I said, like it is a integrated part. The music is an integrated part of filmmaking. So it was gelled. It was very well gelled because if you just place the song for the sake of it, like some of the old movies had, because there was a necessity at that time that songs had to be there after regular intervals, that because the audience came for some of the audience came for just for the songs, for seeing the dance in the songs and all that. So but yeah, that's what this thing definitely helped. The music in this movie definitely helped the movie. For because the chappa chappa charkha chale somewhere, because being it Gulzar Saab's movies, so the songs had a meaning. It connected to the what was going on in the movie.
And just to, I mean, elaborate on your point, this the a movie about violence has a song as
Hmm.
Chappa Chappa Charkha Chale,
Chappa
right?
charkha chale,
Which
yeah, right.
symbolizes Gandhi.
Right.
So
No, no,
that is interesting. Prashant, your thoughts on this?
nice one.
Right. So songs play a very important role in all the movies. And today also, sometimes every movie they release their album first.
Yeah, right.
So if the songs are catchy, you will notice that people go more to watch the movie. And this movie, I mean, I didn't watch when it was released, so I heard the songs first, and then I liked the song very much, and then I watched the movie. And I was also surprised. Like Chappa Chappa was kind of a guy dreaming about his girl and weaving that story in the song. And then it turns out, oh, this is a movie about terrorism
Yeah,
or the insurgency. So that was a shocker. Like, how did this happen? But those songs kept audience, stay put, keep listening. It's an interesting storytelling happening through songs. It's not just a hero and an actress dancing to a song, jumping. It was a storytelling that was happening. Even when you listen to Chodai Hum Wo Galiyan, so there is a meaning to it that is happening. There is a storytelling that's going on. Uh, in Chappa Chappa Chakra, there is a story going on. It's kind of a mesmerizing song. You kind of get lost in that song, Chappa Chappa Chakra, because there is a story. You start imagining it. That paragraph, as soon as it comes, chunni leke soti thi kamal lagti thi. You start imagining that how beautiful that relation would have been, that he was thinking of such minute details.
right.
uh, so that kind of keeps people stay put. So that songs play a very important role in that movie. They played a huge role.
Perfect.
So,
Choda Wo Galiya, in fact, became like a song for everyone leaving the home, and like I remember singing
ah,
myself
that's
in
Yeah,
true.
my head that time when I
yeah,
was
yeah,
leaving my
So,
home
yeah,
for
yeah.
going for further studies and all.
it
Then
was, yeah, it
Choda
was
Hum
also
Wo
the
Galiya.
generation which
Correct.
started leaving the cities, right? Hometowns and moving to different
Exactly,
cities for work.
Right,
Yeah, I don't
exactly,
right.
think,
exactly.
I mean, we all left our hometowns to study somewhere else or to go to job somewhere else. That happened to all
Yeah,
of us. Yeah,
yeah.
Correct.
it was nice talking to you guys, and let's wrap it up. Thanks for your time, guys.
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.